Have you ever wondered about muscle testing? Is it valid? Is it true? Does it make sense? I'm Dr. Kyle Christensen. Today we're going to talk about muscle testing and how you can use it in your life. Muscle response testing, or better known as muscle testing, is simply a way to get a response from an individual or even yourself to give you an indication if something is positive or negative, give you a yes or no answer. To perform it, we simply will use any muscle really. The arm is very convenient. And I instruct my patient to simply hold the arm strong. So go ahead and hold strong. And again, it's a light push. This is a muscle response test, not a muscle strength test. I'm not going to go hold and try to engage in a battle, but hold real strong. Often I'll put my hand to stabilize. Again, often I'm going to be, hold it there, hold real strong. And so we could ask a question. It should be a yes or no. I'm not going to ask her, what is your favorite color, and pull on the arm. I need a yes or no response. I was first exposed to muscle testing as a young chiropractic student, and it seemed mysterious, it seemed intriguing, didn't know whether or not to trust it. In my first practice, I remember the doctor I was working with used muscle testing, and for me, I had to prove whether or not it was valid, and so he would ask me to muscle test him, and he, for example, wanted to know if his body needed calcium. We would put calcium in his hand. I would muscle test the strength of his arm to determine yes or no. Well, I wanted to know it wasn't in his mind, and so he would say, test me on this calcium. So of course I would put potassium or magnesium or something different in his hand, and it was not the results he expected, and puzzled him. My point was I would try to trick him again and again, and it seemed to prove valid. Today we're going to discuss muscle testing and how you can do it and some of the misconceptions about it. The first thing that people need to understand about muscle testing is it's not magic, it's not tapping into some unknown that we can't truly understand. What muscle testing truly is muscle testing is a means or a method to amplify your intuition. I believe that each of us are intuitive. Some more than others. It's a skill, it's a practice you can develop to listen to your body, to listen to what you feel inside. Muscle testing is simply a way to amplify the response. There are many methods or means to ask the body questions to get an answer. One of the simple ones that people can learn how to do for themselves is what we call a sway test. A sway test is simply holding something in your hand and just sitting with it, if you will, and if something is positive or good, it's going to pull you forward. If something is bad, it's going to pull you away. To give you an example, if I hold a supplement in my hand, and I'll stand profile for you, and it's something that my body needs, I may feel a slight tugging or pulling forward. If it's something that I don't need, often we'll feel that it'll push us back. Again, it's nothing magical or mystical. It's simply your body intuitively giving a response. The muscles twitching and pushing your body forward if it's something intuitively your body feels that it needs, and pushing you back if it's not. Many people will use different means or methods. You can use a pendulum. You can use a dowsing rod. Dowsing has been around for millennia. It's a method of finding water. They also call it water witching, and it's still used today. Again, it's a means or a method to amplify your intuition. One of the things we do when we're doing a muscle test is we're simply asking a question. It's important to know that the questions that you ask need to be a yes or no question, something your body can elicit a response, either a positive response yes or a negative response no, based on the means or the method that you're using, whether you're using a sway test or whether you're using a muscle test. One of the misunderstandings of muscle testing is that it's a muscle strength test. It's not a muscle strength test that we're performing. It's a muscle response test, meaning if we're testing somebody's arm and we ask a question, is my name Kyle, I should have a strong response. If I ask the same question, is my name Fred, I should get a weak response. Again, it's not a strength, it's a response test. And so holding strong is yes, and weak, I'll feel a little dip. It can be very, very subtle. When I'm going to perform a muscle test on somebody, often it's to ask a question. I use it in my emotion work to ask if there is a particular emotion that's troubling a person. I could use what I call a therapy localization. I could touch a reflex point on the body. Often I'll test to see if there's a chakra that is out of balance. And I can use a simple muscle test and a therapy localization test. To demonstrate this, I would have her hold her arm strong, go ahead and hold, and it's nice and strong. I can put my hand on the top of her head, right at the crown, and do a muscle test. With my palm down, it should be strong. Hold strong here, good. And then I turn my palm the other way, which reverses the polarity, and hold strong here. And I don't get that strong response. Did you feel the difference there?
Yeah.
And so again, I want to be able to get a positive and negative. When I do this reflex on the crown, it gives me an indication that the person is muscle testable, if you will. If I get both strong this way and this way, or both weak, I know that there's something going on, and that's the topic of another video. But for our purposes here, we want to be able to get a strong and a weak response. So hold strong here. If I was testing her for her chakras, I could test by touching over the crown chakra, and she's strong, the third eye chakra, the throat chakra, the heart chakra, the solar plexus, the sacral, and the root chakra. And so she's testing strong throughout. The biggest challenge most people have in muscle testing or muscle response testing, again, we're not testing for strength, we're testing for the ability of the body or the muscle to lock in and hold either a strong or drop down with a weak response. The biggest challenge people have is the confidence factor. Is it strong? Is it weak? I can't really tell. When we muscle test, the goal is to have a smooth pushing down of the arm, if you will. If you could imagine a bell-shaped curve where it gradually goes up, it peaks, and then it tapers off, that gives the bodies the ability to engage. If, for example, I test strongly and abruptly, more of a spike, I'm not going to get as accurate results. Hold real strong, hold strong. And so if I'm jerking, I'm not going to do that. Whereas if I say hold strong and I gradually increase and then back off, I'm going to get a better test. Again, it's one of those things you've got to practice, and the more you work with it, the better you're going to get. The other thing we find is not all people are easy to muscle test. Some are more difficult. For example, you need to understand that the male ego is very, very fragile, and we don't like to be weak. And so men, more often than women, are going to cheat. And the way that they would cheat is by changing their posture. For example, if I'm testing a muscle here and intuitively my body knows that this is weak, but I don't want to be weak because I've got that delicate male ego, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to raise my shoulder a little bit to recruit some more muscles. I'm going to bend the elbow a little bit. And so almost without exception, if you see the posture change, that often is an indication, well, I know you're weak. And they say, no, give me, try, because they want to engage in that contest, if you will. Again, it's not a matter of strength, it's a matter of response. And so when I test on someone, go ahead and cheat for me, hold real strong, and we see her kind of pull into it, that's an indication that the muscle response is going to be weak, and she just doesn't want to be that way. What else should I say?
Crossing legs thing.
Yeah. The other thing that you can be aware of is if a person is crossing their legs, we're dealing with electricity, we're just dealing with the meridians in the body. There are 12 main acupuncture meridians in the body that are on each side of the body. If the arms are folded, if the legs are crossed, sometimes that can give you a miss signal. Again, you practice, and you find in your family, find someone who's easy to muscle test and practice with them. Another thing that people will want to do is they want to muscle test for themselves. And just like a sway test, we can use a muscle response test for ourselves. There are some who will use what we would call an O-ring test, and they'll hold their fingers together in an O. Yes means it's strong, no means they slip apart. The key to this one is to hold it right at the cusp of where it could go either way. And so if I were to say, my name is Kyle, it's going to hold strong. My name is Fred, it's going to slip. And you begin practicing. Another one you could do this. Some people will hold their finger here. If it's yes, it's going to be strong. If it's no, it's going to be weak. So kind of doing that. One that I like to use, because I like to use one hand, if I'm going to be touching a reflex point on somebody, I'll hold my fingers here. If it sticks, that's yes. If it slides off into like a snap, that's no. Play around with some of these things and find which works best for you. Invariably, one of these is going to resonate with you, and you're going to feel comfortable with that. Another thing that we find, if you're working with family members and you find that one of your children you can really muscle test good, but let's say your husband or son or brother is very difficult and they don't want to show that weak response, you can use a surrogate test. And so what you would simply do is you would have the person that you can muscle test very easily with, hold strong, hold the hand of the person that you're working with. And it's like the electricity runs through them, and you can use the easy muscle testing person as a surrogate to respond to that. And so you could ask the question to the second person and use her as your muscle test surrogate. I hope that will get your feet wet. Play around with this. Understand that it's tricky. It takes time. It takes practice. The big factor is the confidence. Once you find someone that you're good with muscle testing with, practice with them. And as you get more comfortable, you'll be able to expand who you can work with. Again, it's not 100%. It gives you ideas and indications. But understand that muscle testing is simply a means to amplify your intuition. Once you are confident and you're comfortable doing this, often you will find that you know the answer before you even push on the arm. And that's ultimately where we want to go, to be able to listen to our intuition, to that spirit or that voice within, to give us answers. So give it a try. I'm Dr. Christensen. If you haven't subscribed to our videos yet, go ahead and do that if you'd like. Share them with your friends. Again, our goal is to help you help those that you love, and that's really the goal, is to gain the confidence, gain the skills and the ability so that you can bless the lives of others. Thanks, and join us again.